Pour my kombucha. Oh, I got the pomegranate one today.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
That shit's getting expensive.
Yeah, tell me about it. Like, well, you can get specials on. I got this for $3.33. 3 for $10.
Oh, yeah, they're like $4 or $5 here for sure.
Really? Oh, geez. Start making our own. I'm just scared of making bottles explode in my house. I went to last time I went to South Africa, we made pineapple beer. we left it a day too long, and we were sitting at dinner, and we hear this boom, like somebody just dropped a bomb in the house, and it was the pineapple beer that exploded absolutely everywhere. It rained pineapple beer for like a day from the ceiling.
Oh, I actually made kombucha before. What is it called? Scoby. Yeah, a friend of mine.
Scoby, the mother.
A friend of mine gave me one, and I made some, and I did it for a bit, and it wasn't eating all the sugar, and I found it to be like kind of sweet. And I'm not really one to have much refined sugars. Like I stopped having soft drinks or any of that stuff, juice, whatever, a long time ago.
This is my sugar intake for the day when I drink kombucha.
Yeah, and your alcohol.
This, it has. Yeah, she can talk about that. It's a teeny tiny bit.
A wee bit.
Yeah, just a wee bit. Good morning, everyone.
I totally forgot when you went live. I was supposed to say, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for bringing me to me talk about the French language of French Canada for the next hour and a half.
Wonderful. We're going to talk about geese today, guys.
Oh, yes. The Canada goose. Oh no! Don't encourage Heather.
She's probably already here waiting.
Yes,
she's lurking in the comments.
She's gonna be dropping goose emojis.
Michelle says Hong Kong. Good morning, guys. This is the beautiful Steph that many of you already know from being everywhere. He's all over the show lately. He's all over. And we love the Steph dearly. And so I'm very excited to see you on here today and having this chat with me. Thank you, Steph, for joining us. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And now is a chance. I won't be trolling the comments, so it's your chance for everyone to troll me.
Well, I was going to say, now everybody can get you back.
Exactly. I'll look forward. I won't be able to follow because I cannot focus. I can't read and listen to. I don't know how you do it.
It has been a challenge for my ADD every single day to not be distracted by the comments, I must say. Sometimes you'll notice I'll lose my train of thought and not know what I'm going to say next. That's why, because I was reading the comments and it just gone.
I'll plant things and wait for you to notice my comment, and then you just break character all the time.
Yeah, I know. You can see when I read your comics, I start cracking up, and I'm like trying not to laugh while I'm in serious mode.
Well, I don't do it.
Exactly, Laura.
If someone is talking about death or something, I won't be dropping jokes to make you laugh. But
I am the type to laugh at funerals. I just am, to lift the vibration. And I laugh at the most awkward times. I can't help it. It's one of my defense mechanisms, just laughing at shit. So crack away all the comments you want during serious moments. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's a nice little bit of brevity when you're talking about something. So absolutely.
Me too. It lightens the mood. And actually my best friend can't help himself, and he's super awkward at funerals, and he was actually at my mom's funeral and came in and just started telling jokes and stuff. Like that's what he does.
My favorite video of funeral is that Irish guy that recorded a recording of himself saying "Help" from in the grave, where he's like that's the kind of shit I would do for my own funeral, just to have a laugh. Like, everybody takes shit way too seriously. We should be singing and dancing and sending people off with high vibes and lots of love and excitement, and rather than everybody crying and miserable. And modern funerals bother me quite a lot, actually. I like how Native Americans do it. They just sing and call in the ancestors, and it's beautiful.
What is the Irish while they're drunk?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the night that Patty Murphy died.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to those who are joining. Some of you, I am streaming from both pages today. I'm streaming from the, the Soul Apprentice page as well. So you may notice some new people popping up in the comments from today. Welcome to those of you who have never seen our podcast before. This is Steph. We're going to be talking about palmistry today. I sent Steph like a whole bunch of pictures of these babies. So now Steph can tell you all about my past, present, and future now.
Yeah, so it does resemble, it's strongly tied to astrology because of the planets. And it's a lot like numerology in many ways as well. I'm a fan of all those, but I don't know them as much as I know palmistry. And, it's your roadmap. So
yes.
You're like, if you're right-handed, you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people are right-handed. So your left hand is what you came in with. It's your plan, your life plan. And we know from talking about this that we planned our lives before we come here. We planned every major event that happens to us. And so I've been absolutely fascinated with it for over 2 decades. And I've read almost every palmistry book that looks interesting, I read.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a complete newbie. So do you mind explaining some of the basics of palmistry and how you intuitively pick up these things?
Well, it's more of a science, much like astrology is. There's a science behind it. So I learned it from masters. There are markings. I have a marking in my hand saying I'd be really good at palmistry, unironically enough. But it's quite ancient. I'd say it mostly comes from Indian heritage. And if you go on YouTube and whatnot, if you can find the translations or subtitles, the best palmists are Indian. And it's also in French called chiromancy, because a man that went by the name of Chiro, who was an esoteric teacher and he was an astrologer and whatnot. So he was quite famous. And so the name stuck for, that's the French word. It's chiromancy in English as well. Some people would pronounce it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
chiromancy I've heard of.
Yeah. So it's fascinating. It shows. So the lines on your hand change throughout your life. So if you've had a chance, some people have. People used to do ink, and then they'd make prints just like your fingerprints if you get arrested. And so you get to, if you do it right, it's kind of tricky to do. I've done it before. It's not necessary now because we have incredible technology, and not only that, but we have instant digital images. So you don't have to take a photo and then, or actually a photocopier works really well too. You put your hand right on a photocopier, put like a cloth over it, to block the rest of the light, and you can get that's really great to read from as well. But our phones have such great cameras, so that's how we work. It's definitely ideal to be one-on-one. I'd prefer to be with the person on their hands, because then I can feel the texture of the hand, and I can kind of check to see how flexible your fingers are, that kind of thing, your thumb, see how far, that kind of thing. So I might even ask you a little bit, because from your photos I can't tell that kind of thing, right? So and then how padded your hands are as well. So
and we were also talking about how like scars and things can get in the way. I was a chef for many years, so I'm covered in scars. I mean, like, look at that's all from stoves and shit, like I'm covered. So how do they get in the way of your reading?
I would ask, and some people have birthmarks and some people have moles and whatnot, but it's not. No, it's pretty obvious. There's a big difference between creases in the hand that are naturally occurring and a scar. They don't look the same, so it's not an issue. And in fact, I didn't notice any scar. I set up your photos a while ago. I just kind of adjust the contrast before I share my screen, and I didn't see anything remarkable as scar.
Well, it's funny. I can see them. They're here and there. But then I actually lost the tips of my fingers too on a slicer in a deli. I was working in a deli when I was 18. So I don't even have what do you call it? Fingerprints on some of the ends of my fingers because of it. You also burn them off too when you're cooking. So yeah, my hands are all fucked up. So I was surprised that you could get an accurate reading.
Perfect for your crime plans, like, criminal plans.
Yeah.
If you guys ever seen, I was a big fan of a very dark film I loved psychological fucked up shit when I was younger. Was Seven, the movie Seven, and he actually he's a killer.
I remember that where he jigsawed his own fingerprints.
Yeah, so Trent Reznor made the intro, and you see him doing it in the intro. He's cutting it off. He's cutting off with a razor blade. He's cutting off the ends of his fingers. Yikes. He's not even burning. I think burning out. Oh no, he used acid. I don't know. It was nasty. Whatever it was.
This is not a PG podcast today, guys.
Yeah. I could tell I'll try. So I didn't mention to you, but if you want to set me up to share my screen, we can get into it.
You have present. You just have to click present. Do you see it at the bottom there?
Yep. I guess I choose that myself.
Yep. You have all the power, Steph.
All right. I'm just checking if it's given me. For some reason, it doesn't want to let me just share Photoshop. Isn't that strange? I just do the whole screen instead.
Yeah.
It shows a lot of the different apps, but it won't give me that one. So now we're getting.
Oh, here we go. Add to
you
stage.
Guys over here.
Bam. Oh shit! There's my hand. Okay.
That makes this really easy. So I move you guys to the left, and then the screen that you guys. So
you guys can even see my salt line against my door. You see that? That's my protection of my line of salt in front of the door. So funny. Okay. I'm glad I painted my nails before this.
There's a little scar right here, right? There's a little scar.
Yeah. That's like I said, they're on there.
So I always look at the back of the hands first. So I'll often look at both of them, and I just get a general feel for the hand, and then I'll see what elements are predominant in the character. So from initially looking at your hands, I see mostly earth here. So the earth hands have a broad palm and shorter fingers. The water hands are the opposite. They're long palm, long fingers. Fire hands are long palm, short fingers. And then air is short palm, long fingers. Okay. So because everyone can, this is a join in kind of thing, because people tend to be staring at their own hands. Like I would wear, I'd be reading a book on palmistry, and I'd be like this. I'd be just going back and forth with the book to my hand, right? So as I'm explaining, and I'll try to add a little bit more. I'll read your palm, but I'll share little tidbits about if your hand's different, So the first thing I took out my lime green today to do my lines. I just thought it'd be fun. Big fan of green. And this I noticed already on your podcast that you let me see. This is me naturally holding my hand. This is what my hand is. You see this same? Mm-hmm. We have some similarities, and I have a space here too. So if you have these two guys that really hold together, you're definitely a psychic. Okay, so these two will hold together, and these guys will be separate. But this one's the best. Yeah. So this one's really cool because, and you'll love this. It means no one tells you how to think, what to think, or what to do. You're a very independent thinker. The people with that are not followers. Okay, pave your own path. Unsurprisingly, yeah. So so we pick up on people intuitively and psychically, but for a long time now, I've been looking at people's hands. That's just, I'll read people by their hands. So if you ever see somebody with a very club thumb, and it would be shorter than this, and it's fat like that, you know that these are people. These are dangerous people. So stay away from them. They're very instinctive. These are the world's finest. Sarcastically speaking, they're not they're not people you want to mess with. You don't want to be around them. So you get away from those people. Okay.
Just
Women,
stay away
if
from
you see
the
a guy
club
with
thumbs.
a short club thumb, he'll rip you if he gets, okay. If he's alone with you in a room, he will. So that's something to look. That's one of the main things to look for in somebody's hand. And if people keep their thumb in here, they're hiding something. Okay. So this is important. And if you see them just hiding their thumbs, they're not to be trusted. Okay. Something to look for out in the wild. So
Wow.
I see a soft texture. Yeah, this could last 4 hours if I wanted to, but I won't. I'll keep it within because I could go on and on. So the soft skin, supple, tells me that you are blue collar. That you're not blue collar. You're a white collar. At least
I
you
just
are
moisturize,
now.
Steph. I'm as blue collar as they get.
Yeah. Oh, you're definitely the earth hand.
Make it to moisturize. I always have lotion literally sitting inches away from me. Like I'm as moisturized as they get. I'm slick as a seal all the time.
Good to hear.
So that's why. Yeah.
I don't do any of that, but I did get myself some better soap. That's one thing. I started using better soap that has coconut oil and shea butter and that kind of stuff instead of
good stuff.
Whatever, because men were like, soap, good for the hair, good for everything. That's how I am. Anything.
Well, your skin is leather, you got to keep it moisturized, otherwise it starts to crack and crease and stuff. That's what I was told as a kid, so I'm always moist.
Well, I'm pushing 50, so I'm getting pretty creasy in my face, that's for sure. And a lot of water. Water is a good one. Lots of water every day.
Absolutely.
So for the photos, I asked you to. So I ask everybody to do the back of the hands and then the front of the hands, and then I get a zoom in. So right. So for each, so I'm just letting everybody know that this is good enough for me to do an online reading. And so your left hand. So I did set these up a little bit beforehand, and I did notice you're an absolute alchemist. Okay, you're manifesting, you're designing your life as you go, way more than most. So you're not new at being human, and you kind of came in with a chosen difficult childhood, but you also came in with a somewhat of a clean slate so that you could choose your way as you're going. This is not common. So this tells me
cool.
You have a clue what's going on. Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting because I have not seen it before.
I have lived about 7 different lifetimes already, all in one. I've been a lot of different people already.
Yes. Many incarnations, I'm sure. Definitely.
I just mean in this lifetime. I keep changing. Just in this incarnation, I've changed so much that I don't even recognize myself. Sometimes 5 years later, it's amazing. So yeah, that resonates. Thank you.
Yeah. We might touch on that a little bit in a minute. Okay, so let's start with the fingers. Often will, I can jump back and forth, but I'll try to stick to the fingers, and if it relates, I'll go to something else. So this is your Jupiter finger. This is your Saturn finger. This is the Apollo finger. And this is the Mercury finger. Some people call it the Mars. I call the thumb Earth. I always read the thumb as Earth. So some of this has to do with what I've learned. Some of it has to do with my own intuition and my own interpretation of all this. I did read Kiro's book, which it's over a century old. I didn't agree with a lot of it, actually. So it was a bit of a blueprint that led the way, but the newer palmists I find to be much more involved about all this. So for the size, I'm seeing that these two are predominant. And one thing that stands out immediately is that ideally, so yeah, I'm going to be blunt, but some things I'm going to not say.
Please do.
Maybe publicly.
No, I don't care.
Much, but okay. So
I don't care.
and
I tell these guys
like
everything. I don't give a shit. I have no shame. So I don't care.
Okay.
Speak your mind.
So like a lot of people when they're reading, it'll kind of touch the less great parts, like Tammy Lepresti. She'll tell you like what's not so good and then lead into the best part near the end. I try to do the same thing.
Cool.
And of course, everything has a two sides of the coin, right? There's good and bad, and I will explain that to my best.
Awesome.
So these two fingers, we want this guy and this guy, we want them to be the same length, ideally. So, but when you do have the Jupiter finger long, so the Jupiter finger is the ego and authority. And the Apollo finger, being the sun, is career and success and the energy to do so, whatnot, right? Sun energy. So what you have with the, and they're also bigger. So the Saturn is often related to, I'd say mysticism, but I even say witchcraft. So a big middle finger tells me you are a witch, or you have been a witch, and you have
a big middle finger makes you a witch. Good to know.
and if people don't like it,
look at my witch finger.
So the longer finger here means that you have a lot. You're a natural leader. So in a positive way, you're a natural leader. You're a very good leader. But because it's long, it means that you might have too much ambition, and you could be you can be aggressive. It also positively means that you the longer finger like that means you have a very strong spiritual inclination as well. Okay, so there's the pros and cons to whatever, but when I do readings, it comes with warnings: is to be careful, not to be too aggressive, not to be too pushy to get what you want and make people follow you. You know what I mean? Be the natural
I just
leader.
get aggressive when they get in my way. I'm like, get the fuck out of my way. I don't like it when people stand in the way. That's the only thing. We got progress.
Yeah, well, I'll come to the thumb for that. So the thumb is willpower, and you have a strong and broad thumb. So that means that, yeah, you will push people the fuck out of your way. You have the determination to get where you want. You're quite resilient. And that you get from a good sized thumb. And you don't have a long, big thumb, but you have a strong thumb, and it's kind of heavy set.
It's not built for hitchhiking.
Yeah, well, I think any thumb can work pretty well for the hitchhiking. You have done quite a bit of traveling, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Another thing I want to mention with the fingers is the low set. So this would be a normal, right? Not too many people have this, but you would have straight across. The very, very practical people who are not so imaginative would have this hand. They're your tradesmen, that kind of thing. Tradespeople, plumbers, electricians, and carpenters, and that kind of thing. They have very square hands, square fingers. You have conical fingers, which is ideal, very good. It means you're well-rounded, and it has a more empathic side and natural intuition, that sort of thing. Your fingers are almost identical to mine. I don't have the low set like this, but your fingers are almost the same as mine. I sent you how to take the photos. Take a look at my fingers after, you see how similar they are, especially these three. They're almost the same. It's weird. We have some similarities. I always see some similarities in everybody's hand. I'm like, oh, that's kind of like mine. So the low set Mercury means, on the negative side, it means that the person lacks confidence. But it also means that they have latent talents and a high intelligence coupled with that. So they're kind of hiding and not exploring and showing the world their talents, and they don't even aren't even aware of their talents. They can be, you can dig them up throughout your life and you'll learn them as you're going. I think you're learning some of your talents right now. You have been over the
damn
last...
imposter syndrome is even in your hand. Amazing. Wow.
A lot of people would talk about the imposter syndrome. Yeah. And I did a quick little Photoshop thing. I do work with Photoshop quite a bit. So this might, oh wait. So I brought because it's low set, I brought your finger up here so we can put it next to this finger. So show everyone that this line, so these are called phalanges. So this line here, if your Mercury finger passes that line, am I glitching out?
No, there's just a little lag. We're having a little tiny lag.
Am I glitching out here?
No, like I said, just a little bit of lag for a second. That's all. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, you're good.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're good.
Aww. Okay. It looks like I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
My rural internet is somewhere around 10 to 20 megabytes per second, sadly. So
yeah, we can hear you fine.
Turn off the
video that's slowing down.
Okay.
It's just the video that's being slow, so it's okay. We can hear you just fine.
Perfect. Okay, where was it? So if your Mercury finger passes this line, then that's a long Mercury finger, which makes you a strong communicator. You are a strong communicator. Writers always have their finger at least this long, and some people are just orators. So that's why I brought as weird as that looks, I brought your finger up there so I can put it. And if you're doing it yourself at home, you can just kind of do this in order to see where, if you hold your hand like this, your fingers will line up because your knuckles will line up. So if I had you with me, I would do that rather than rip your finger off and bring it up to the next finger.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Like I just did. Like, how quick does that look? What the? All right. So, should I compare this to your? So the perspective is not good on this one, but it doesn't matter because I use the left hand more for the fingers, but it does show how much bigger this finger is and that finger is and the rest of the fingers. Because of the perspective, it really shows the exaggeration of those. But I'm not gonna, for the lines, I'm actually going to take these guys, I'm gonna put them next to each other because I don't necessarily do this, but I will today because your hands are so different. So they fit on the screen, so we might as well.
Cool.
They're very different. So I'll start with the important line. And I'll mention the mounts first. So with the fingers, I don't need to mark them because, again, this is Jupiter, this is Saturn, this is Apollo, and this is Mercury. And then we get in here and we have the lower Mars, or I don't know, the lower Mars, upper Mars, something like that. And then this is the plane of Mars in the middle of the hand. That's what that's where your Mars. That's why I don't call the thumb Mars. I find that this is plenty of Mars. And then this is Venus. And this is the moon. And to some, if you want to get really into it, you got Neptune down here. But I don't get too much into Neptune.
Oh.
Yeah, so how it ties to astrology, very interesting. And so if you look at people's hands, you'll see which planets rule them. Like a Capricorn will often have the pronounced Saturn, for example, because they're ruled by Saturn. Cancer will have a pronounced moon and whatnot, so forth. So getting into lines where this gets very interesting. But for the mounts, I'll say that it definitely stands out as the prominence of your Venus. And so, what did I want to say about? So with the Venus, so Venus is relates to love and beauty and sensuality, affection. Sex is in there as well, but it's your affection and your sympathy. So yours is very pronounced. So all those things. And keep in mind that sensuality includes indulgence and hedonism a little bit. So they kind of come with that, right? So sensual people tend to be a little indulgent and
nailed
a little hedonistic. So you knew that was going to come somewhere, right?
Just a bit.
But you don't have a very hedonistic hand. So there are several things I kind of expected to see in your hand, and other things I was a little surprised, you know? So there's a big difference between me reading for someone I already know, because there's validation involved, whereas I can read for somebody I don't know and they'll ask more questions to people. But when I read your hands, there were some things I was looking at, I'm like, oh, there it is. You know, like, could I, like that pinky finger, like obviously your pinky finger is not going to be close to the other hands. That was a given. I knew that was going to be the case. Okay, so getting into the lines. Oh, and your moon mount is quite pronounced. So we see here, it comes down far as well. See that? That's much. Yeah. That's more moon than most people have there. See how it comes down like a lip right here? Yeah.
What?
So that's pronounced. And I know about Tiamat and all that, but I still see, because I'm a moon child, so I still feel that I have the strong influence of the moon. That moon energy nonetheless. So the lifeline is the first one, very popular one that we look at. So that is one of the things that I found extremely shocking. Extremely shocking. Shocking is enough without being extremely. This is your lifeline on your right hand. On your left hand, it does this thing and it has this fork. And that would normally be a dissipation of energies, where your life, and there's a fate line, that's another thing that we're going to get into, but your life energies would be splitting. In other words, in your hand, intuitively, I see it as you chose this life and you chose this beginning of your life, and then you're going to have a fork in the road where you would be deciding which direction you're going to be going. This is not normal. I don't see this often. Usually the lifelines are pretty similar from the left to the right. And also, if I didn't mention earlier, your lines in your hands change throughout your lifetime. So when I was talking about the handprints and stuff, I didn't finish that thought. Is that if I looked at my photos or prints from 20 years ago, my hands don't look the same now. There are a lot of lines that have changed. Some disappear, some appear, some lengthen. There's a very cool line that can be right here called the Ring of Solomon. And that would be, if you have that, then you are naturally going to be good at occult sciences and palmistry, for example. You do not. I just want to bring that up.
I'm so curious about that fork. It reminds me, you were saying
here. So
you know that show Outlander? They were talking about Outlander, and they were like, "Oh, but you've got a lifeline, and it's forked." And so I guess I won't be touching any standing stones anytime soon, just to be safe. Good to know.
I haven't watched that show, but I don't have much time for shows anymore. But I've done my share of TV. I didn't get into that one. I do like the fantasy medieval stuff, though.
Yeah, you like it.
Okay, so you've taken this and you are bringing it, and it goes all the way, cupping all the way around here. And so we don't want to say, I don't want to tell people and do any guesstimates of life expectancy or anything like that. You can read on the lines, and I can guesstimate where you are, where you were in your life when something occurs. So I can see that, oh, there's going to be a big shock here or whatnot in your life, a big change, and it'll be around this age. That's what I can say. But as far as the length of your life, which is exemplified by your hands here, just because you have a short lifeline, it doesn't mean you're going to have a short life. Just because you have a long life doesn't mean you're going to have a long lifeline, doesn't mean you're going to have a long life. Okay. Now, But having said that, your trajectory is showing very likely that you'll have a long life. Not only that, but the lifeline can be very much in like this for some people. So if somebody has a line that shows less space here than on this half of the hand, then you're going to have somebody that has a lot less energy. Whereas yours loops right out to the hand and even increases with, okay, so this is birth here, and then down here we have at the bottom of your hand is later in life. And yours reaches out quite far, so you're actually going to increase in energy. So you're going to continue to have plenty of energy to fulfill your mission, to walk your path. Cool. So that's an excellent sign. So I'm a big fan. I really like seeing this on a good strong lifeline. I'm going to make it disappear for. I have to back up till the lines disappear. So I do see here, speaking of age, right around here, we see this line here, and then we see it take off another line here. So somewhere around, so we're trying to guess, and this down here would be, around 80 or 100, depending how long you end up living. So somewhere in your 30s, you have completely, which you probably, it has recently passed probably, because you're in your mid 30s or so.
I'll be 39 in 2 months or 3 months, Steph.
Oh, okay.
But thank you. Yeah.
Better to guess lower than higher when talking to.
Yeah, I know, you're such a sweetheart. Thank you.
I really thought it was more like 35, 36, but that's great. So that means you've already.
Yes, Daniela thought I was 35. I'm like, see, it's that lotion, you guys.
Yeah, on camera, people think I'm much younger than I am, but I look older in person.
I'm still getting 35 for you too, Steph. You look about maybe 36, somewhere around there.
Oh, really? That young?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Totally.
I don't have too much. I'm getting the white.
I was going to say, just don't show the side there where you get the gray in your face. You can notice that.
The whites come in late for me, though. So that helps. So the line it does not end. The new line begins next to it, whereas it can sometimes end abruptly and then a new one begins right there. But that's not the case with you. What you did is you created a new life without deleting the last one. So the old life is or has been fading away as the new life begins. The new life path is what I mean by that. I'm saying this so that others can relate to it as well. You'll see breaks and restarts in your own lines, and you can relate it to what will happen or what has already happened. It gets a little tricky down here because if you have these lines that split like this, you do not. You do have a line that does split over here this way. You'll see splits of energy, splits in a dissipation of energy. You're getting older, you get tired, that kind of thing. Coming back to this hand, though, what was it? Something that stood out. Oh, no, it wasn't for the lifeline. I can't remember now. But what I really like in this one, these are called sister lines here. And you have one right here. Sister lines to the lifeline. Now, you do not have them in this hand. So you called in, some people call them guardian angels, or your helpers.
Really?
It doesn't mean it's going to relate to all of your soul helpers and whatnot, but it can. Your guides. It doesn't necessarily. It's not going to add up to them, but some people with a lot of guides will have a lot of these lines. So maybe with luck and whatnot, you drew these energies to help you. So the first one is quite strong, and they'll be there to help you on your path along your way and protect you. There's protection involved in this. And then this is not a very strong line, but this other line will follow you for the rest, all the way down into your old age. So you're going to have that protection. It's not a very strong protection, but it's there nonetheless. I can see it, and I do not see it in this hand. interestingly enough. So this is an energy you brought on to yourself. Whereas I have strong every reading I've ever had said you're extremely protected, and it's all over my hand as well, that I'm very protected. I'm starting to understand why now. There's things I've learned that are telling me why.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
So yeah, and I like the tagline that your life is in your hands. I'd like to always push that one. That's a really good tagline for this, because your life really is in your hands. It's translated there. It's
The whole
your
new
book.
way of looking at it.
Yeah. And then we have, what do we want to look at? Well, let's go to the heart line next. This is a little bit tougher for you, and you actually chose all of it because this is your left. So you see, you don't only you have kind of like two lines here, and they break up, and these lines and the lines that go down. So lines that curve downward are not good. Lines that curve upward are good. And aside from the main lines that are horizontal are more of obstacles, and lines that are vertical are good stuff. This is the general rule of palmistry, but you have to understand the main lines before getting at that stuff. And then we see a fork here, which is good at the end. So it shows that a pure love. You love deeply and wholly. The ideal is actually but because it's not very curved. So a very curved line would be like this. And it would finish right up between these two fingers. So a very curved line is people that get married and stay together for 50 years generally have this line. They're very, if they have matching lines especially, these are the deep, pure love, pure commitment. That is an excellent line for that kind of thing, but we're not all the same, and we're not all meant to have these kind of lessons in life.
I got the double divorce lines. Yes.
Marriage is actually, and marriage and children is over here on the cusp, up here. But I don't say anything specific about that because it's very difficult to interpret. You can have that line. It can be for the strong love of a child. It can be for a mate. You can have two of them and think it's from two marriages, but it could be one's for one of your children and the other one's, and you can have 8 children and only have 3 lines because there's 3 of them that are really closer and dearer to you, whether you want to admit it or not. They're the ones that are closer to your soul, that you love more deeply. So I don't say much to it, but if you do have those lines, you can recognize them and see them for what they are. If you have one strong, broad line, it's probably your marriage. If you're not married and you had a child and you have one strong line, and like some high school fling, and you raise this child, you become very, very close to this child, most likely. And then a strong line there would mean probably your child rather than the father of the child.
Interesting. Okay.
And you do have a strong line there. Move this.
What is the M that you often see on people's hands? I see it in posts all the time.
The money line. Oh, yes, we can.
Is that what that is? The M?
Yeah. So, well, I'm just going to finish for the heart line. Is that?
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to get you.
But
get ahead of us.
It includes it, so I'll get to it. So if people have islands like this, these are hardships. These are heartaches, hardships. But what you have is a lot of heartache and hardship. These lines, they're not continuous. You have that second line. It's almost like one big island that kind of just goes on, and then some more difficulty here. But you do love deeply. It has nothing to do with your ability to love. It has to do with relationships.
My choices. Yes.
Yeah, my choices.
As my dad says, you know how to pick them, Laura. Thanks, Dad. Yeah.
I can't really tell you that you're going to find your true love or anything like that. That is what astrologers do, and that kind of thing. That's not my thing. I don't do that. I don't tell you how long you're going to live. Any of those things. I'm trying to see. So the money line would be. I didn't go through all the lines yet, but so the lifeline was here. This is the headline. And then it would be normally the fate line would bring it up to the heart line and then here. So, or we could kind of see it on this one. There.
Oh,
This is the money line. And this just means you're going to be all right. It means you'll be okay. You're not going to be living in the streets in extreme poverty or anything like that.
Cool.
But if it's really clearly pronounced, yeah, these are people that do very well. Yours is there. It's not a standout in your hands. So, but there is something I'll tell you further down about a very positive. I'm looking at the time, and I don't want to stagnate too long on any one line. So
no, you're fine. We can chat all day, Steph. I don't care. Like I said, I'm enjoying your company, and this is fascinating. So don't even look at that clock.
Yeah, we could talk about all those other things about breath work and meditation and organ art and that kind of stuff another time.
Love it. Whenever you want.
So we were talking about the lifeline, and I should have actually come to the headline immediately with that, because they're often, for most people, they're tied together. So, and the links between these, so all these lines here, those are, and a lot of us have them. The longer that they're tied together, yours are not so much tied to the family, whereas some people it might be. I'm very visual, so if your line is like this and your lifeline follows it very closely, the longer they're literally the same line, the more tied you are to family and in a very dependent way, right? So we call them dependents when we talk about our children. So these children rely on their parents a lot. So you have a strong attachment to your parents, but you are very independent simultaneously. And these little lines that go back and forth, those are all hardships. So these are like I read them as traumatic events that happen. And so yours would be, most of us have these because, things happen where children really define us and who we are in our lives. So, so I'd say, somewhere around the age of 20, you have this line here that where you separate from family and go off to live your life. And a really cool thing here for I had seen something I really wanted to point out. Oh yes. So your fate line is very obvious in your left. And you said no. So this is the fate line. Oh yeah. So I'm jumping ahead. I'm doing this thing because I just thought of it. Let me not do that right now. Let me finish with the headline. So for the headline, what you're given is this line here, and it has this fork. So that's the writer's fork. So you came in this world with the ability to be a writer. The longer this line is, the more intelligent the person is. So when you meet people that have really short lines, that, sorry, Photoshop error. You meet somebody and their line ends right here, they're not that smart. It's that simple. It just is what it is. So it does a little bit of a wave here as well, and then I see this other line coming in, and I'm not really sure what that is, but it's like extra knowledge coming in, and that's something that will come in your future. So if you do remember this down the line, say in your 50s, there'll be some extra like downloads of knowledge coming to you. Is what I'm getting from this line intuitively, as a little aside. So, and then so that's what you're given, and then what you did with it in real life. So the straighter this line is, the more logical the person is, and the more curved the line is. Mine comes way down to here because I'm an artist and I'm extremely imaginative. Yours has a nice, excellent, it's fairly straight, which is really good, and then it has a nice curve coming down here, which gives you a very good balance of logic and creativity. So not only do you have the creativity to put into your writing, but you have the logic to put it into clear, concise words. And I mean, some incredible writers have insane lines that come down to here.
Neat.
But also a humorous part about this is if the line really comes down and ends right here, this is the moon line. They call them lunatics. That's where the term lunatic. Yeah. So you're going to get some people with some crazy ideas, which, well, I'm not too bad, but if it comes down too far down here, they're very disconnected, right? In French, there's an expression "dans la lune," which means you're in the moon, like you're not present. It's like a space cadet. It basically translates as space cadet in English.
I love that phrase.
So, yeah. But it has a nice long. It's a nice long line, so you have a good intelligence. You're not a genius like the really long lines.
I've always said I'm in the middle. I'm like smart enough to understand the important shit, but the other stuff, it's like,
Yeah, well,
I won't be doing any surgeries on people anytime soon, unless it's a psychic surgery, you know.
and your thumb also tells me that I didn't actually talk. The thumb is the most important finger, by the way, to me.
Really?
And I didn't mention that, but your thumb is the broad thumb. It's fairly thick and strong. That's a very grounded person, and it comes across it because your thumb is your willpower as well. So you have a strong willpower, and because it's the first phalange is broad, it means that you're very grounded and you're very down to earth. The down to earth is a better expression for it, actually. Oh yeah, show me your hand and how your thumb naturally. Because I wasn't sure if you were holding your thumb in like this. Yeah, it does. It does. So the angle of the thumb has a lot to do with our openness.
I'm double jointed.
That's yeah. But you see, if mine is somewhat flexible, but yours is very flexible, which makes you a pushover. And you need to learn how to say no. That's what that means. So people with very flexible.
I am a people pleaser. Yes, absolutely accurate.
You can do this, and it's the same thing with the thumb. It means you have a very flexible mind that you can really open your mind up, which clearly you're very open-minded to all of the stuff that you study. You have to be open-minded to these things. But overly flexible, and yours is overly flexible, means you have, so that's your willpower in the thumb. So you need to assert yourself and not be, so you have very contradictory. So your index finger shows this very strong ego and my way, and then you have that thumb that goes, but what do you want? Oh, you need my help? Okay, right? So you struggle with this.
Spot on, Steph.
Yeah. I get pretty psychological.
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I had forgotten to mention that about the thumb back then. So okay, so
double jointed people are pushovers. I'm never gonna forget that. Good to know.
But they're also flexible.
Flexible pushovers.
Yeah. So you're flexible in the moment and adaptive as well to any circumstance. So there's pros and cons to it. So our best traits always come with the mirror of that trait. So you have somebody that's very confident and that leadership qualities that you have with that. And also you got to watch out for the arrogance, and you have to watch out not to be too dominating and aggressive. So there's the double-edged sword, right? So getting into the next line. So you have the clear. So normally a fate line, an ideal fate line, which is very rare, does this and goes straight up and does not pass. If it goes into the finger, that's bad. For some reason, if it gets into the finger, it's bad news for your fate. Most people do not have this line, but on your left hand, you have a pretty clear line here, and then you have this new path that comes in pre-planned. And it stops here because, and that's a warning, is to tell you that stops at the headline means that if you overthink things instead of going with your intuition and your gut to lead the way, you can make mistakes by overthinking and making bad decisions that thwart your development towards your fate. Okay? And if it stops and other people, if it stops at the heart line, then emotions get in the way, and a marriage can get in the way. That sort of thing that, for example, a partner, you don't have this. But a partner can get in the way to and block you from realizing your true potential. And then we have
keep an eye out for that line, guys.
Yeah. So that's what you came in with. And then there's you coming in here and fucking it all up, not in a bad way. It's you taking it and going, so here we still see your fate line coming in here, but then there's this line that I intuitively strongly feel is you going, I'm out of here. I am leaving. I asked you for the percussion we'll look at after because it applies to you. You left. You physically left. You left the country. You went away and said, I don't want any of this. Whatever it was I was supposed to be doing, whatever my fate was, whatever I chose, I'm rewriting it. Not doing it. I've never seen this before. This is first. That's why when I saw it, I'm like, what is this?
I wonder if that's a sign of being a walk-in or just a sign of being like, fuck this, I'm out of here and leaving. Because I've wondered about both, really. Because, yeah. I told you about the whole 9/11 thing and how I just said, fuck this, I'm leaving. So, yeah.
I don't think you're a
Maybe that's it.
I think you're in a pod.
Okay, cool.
I think you're in a Palladian pod.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
But you're very
well. There's 2,000 of us, according to Tegent's. 2,000 women in pods and 500 men. So
you do nonetheless have a really strong tie to Earth with many incarnations, and it's like you have you're holding on to karma that you don't need to hold on to, but you're choosing to hang on to it. It's for you to let it go. That's something I'm getting as a message.
I'm using it for motivational purposes right now.
Yeah, but it ties into that finger, and it comes with that warning of not being too combative. You have a very combative.
Yeah.
You don't really have fighter hands per se, but you have a combative aura. You have a combative, like you want to destroy all the entities, for example. You have to remember all of these.
Destroy the cabal. That's my favorite thing, is being a thorn in the side of the elite. You know, that's who I'm here for.
So do I. What I was going to say for the entities is that we have to remember that laughter and love are the best weapons against these entities, and that all of them are. I've realized this recently in meditation. So I was learning and I was reading that the entities are negative. And they're not from the light, some of them, but they're all from the light. They've just fallen far from grace. You were talking about the gargoyles being fey, and I actually
warped elementals. Yeah,
I have seen it. I have seen recently. I sensed, felt. However, I don't have a clear.
You saw one of the gargoyle creatures.
It looked like a gargoyle, but and then I removed it from the person, and then it was a fae. When I was removing it, I saw it's actually a fae.
You transmuted it.
And that's the other thing, is where all that negativity comes from. They learned it from their entourage, just like we are the emotions and the energy of the people that surround us, that we keep around us, the company you keep. So the entities that got stuck to or were hanging out with really negative, evil people fell from grace, and that's how they ended up as these demons and whatnot.
It's all a vibrational match. Yep. So
we need to help them, and of course, you can just say, "Hey, Michael, take these away, please." Like this is a nasty thing. Please take this away and bring him back. They're going to go back to the light. But I'm saying I brought that up as like it's not a fight. It's not us against them. And you're talking about
I know. This is something that, thanks to Laura Whitworth, I've had a new awakening for that, because when I first got into Terry Palmer's work, I must admit, I was like, oh my God, they're all evil, they're all bad, but now I realize that they wouldn't even be able to attach to us if we didn't have requirements for them to be a vibrational match for our thoughts, for our actions. They're here to help us with shadow work in a way. So I'm coming to appreciate them. I really am. We're all a work in progress. So, but it's all thanks to Laura that I've had a new perspective brought into the equation. So, love you, Laura.
I like how you brought in the shadow, because I picture them as kind of, I kind of had a visual of them sticking to the shadow. They're drawn to us, and they'll stick onto our shadow. If our shadow is in good shape, they won't stick to the shadow. Whereas I mostly work with chakras, but I find Laura absolutely amazing. I love the depth of knowledge that she's sharing. Her recent one, I actually want to reach out to her and ask her if I can get the video or I can digitally record snippets of it, because what she said is such deep truth for the conspiracy theorists that they call them and whatnot, people that really want to deep dive. She gets really into it, and she was bringing up stuff I didn't realize and makes total sense. So that last one that she did, I mean, everybody, I want to praise everybody on Divinate. I'm absolutely loving this. I was just with Kaya this morning, right before this. I try to join that every single day, and if I can't because I have to be away, I'll actually watch the replay. So getting in anybody you should, because you keep talking about struggling with meditation. We can talk about, if we have time, we can talk about meditation.
Working it. Right now, I'm struggling to find time in the day. The days are not 24 hours anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just insane how much you're fitting into a day. I was working till 2:00 in the morning last night. I was up at 7 again.
I was too busy for your podcast in the morning, and then when I was ready to go to bed, I went on Facebook, and you had just done another podcast on Solo Princess.
The shift is coming. We got to get ready. You
did like 3-4 hours.
I told everybody I'll sleep after the shift. So, we only got 2 years. It's fine.
You need the sleep so you can remain centered, so that you can remain in a meditative stage, which is really just means to be present. And you're super, super busy. Give Kaya 11 minutes. 11 minutes of your day.
I do watch the replays. Kaya, for those of you who haven't checked out Kaya's replays in the morning, you really should, because they are incredible. And if you're super busy in the morning, then you should watch them at night like I do. So I do my activations before sleep, ironically.
Good. Yeah. I meditate at night.
It does help though. Yeah.
I'm not a morning person. This is me trying to be on the ball. I don't drink coffee either, so I did do my morning workout, which is for me is yoga. So I do my sun salutations, which is 6 reps. I highly recommend doing that. It doesn't take it. I learned a bunch of yoga. I don't have time, and I insisted on retaining the essentials of things. So breath work is very important. So all day long, I keep reminding myself of the breath work that we can get into another time. But I just do my sun salutations. And the weightlifting, I do integrate, but I'm getting old, so I actually don't have to do it so often now because I can't. I need more recovery time. So, but the push-ups every day. So I do my sun salutations for the stretch, and I stretch, and it stretches almost all of your muscle groups. So anybody who's into weightlifting or any sort of physical strenuous activity, you do that, you have your full stretches before starting.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's the Qigong that really gets me going in the mornings. I'm so grateful to Danielle and Christopher for getting me back into Qigong, because that is so powerful for the mornings, for channeling the amount of energy you need for the day and to getting you into a good headspace.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful. And that's new to me, that they introduced me to it. So I've learned a lot of different things. And I'd say in that vein, mostly it was yoga for me, but I'm really loving the Qigong, and I look forward to having more time to do it more regularly. But they know I'm there every Sunday, and then I try to.
I'm just curious, is there like a fitness line in there, like that you could actually find, like somebody who actually likes to exercise and stuff? I don't think I have a fitness line, but I'm just checking if there is such a thing.
There's the stamina, right, that comes from the lifeline.
Okay.
So you have a lot of energy and stamina. The earth, so you have, but you have more of a fire hand, by the way. So you have earth and fire, your dominant energies. So that's actually the beginning I should have mentioned. If I move this for a second.
I'm a Leo rising, Taurus moon, or no, Taurus sun, Pisces moon. So I got a mix.
Yeah. So if relatively speaking, you have a long palm and short fingers. In comparison to your palm, your fingers are short. So that's more of the fire hand. So those are the two most energetic. So those are the yang energies, right? The earth and fire are yang energies. So you have a lot of that what do you call it? For you have your male and female energy, but we call it our in spiritual terms rather than gender.
Yeah.
Help me out here.
Masculine, feminine energy is
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Anyways, yes. So,
yeah.
anyways, I don't know. I can't think of it. My brain goes mush sometimes. It is early for me to be on the ball like this. Trying. I'm not a morning person. So for energy wise, you have lots of energy. I was going to say that the earth hands tend to be more of the kaphas and the doshas, and pitta would be the high energy. So the pittas are more of the very muscular fit. Those are the fire people are more of the what do you call for? Wow, I'm just losing words again. But fitness people, fitness gurus, and buff people and ripped people. There are a lot of fire.
I just had the word pop in my head. Androgynous. Is that the one you were trying to think of?
No, I was
androgynous.
Trying to think of your energy on the spiritual level of the male, and your energy on is connecting with your divine masculinity and divine femininity is what I was looking for.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That keyword was. I don't know of anything in the handout. I would say that somebody loves fitness. No, I don't. Your hand doesn't tell me that you hate fitness or love fitness. It doesn't say these kind of things.
I don't love it or hate it. I'm indifferent about it.
I just encourage people. I've done some palmistry for a few people in the collective, and the people like, I hate exercise and all this. Like, it's because you think that there's a goal to it. You think that you're doing it to lose weight or all this, and you decided that you hate it. But if you're doing it just to feed your soul, and you're doing it to make your life better, everything gets better. I take a walk at lunchtime every day. I'll go for a 30-minute walk every day after lunch. Helps to digest. And it just gets my mind clear. And so most of I didn't really mention at the beginning, but my main focus in life is I'm an artist. First and foremost, I've been an artist for almost 20 years, professional, full-time. All this stuff I'm doing on the side, and the esoteric stuff is coming more into my life now. I might have to balance them more, but I'm working towards, what was I going to say about the art thing? I'm gonna focus on the palmistry so I don't keep. I
just shared your links for everybody so that way they can get a reading.
My thing about being live, and Siddhartha was telling me yesterday, he trying to encourage me and push me into being more of a teacher. My problem is my brain is a very arty brain, and it goes off on tangents, and I will have to bring it back. So if I'm monologuing, I end up going, and I need somebody to bring it back. So as far as teaching, I much prefer a dialogue like I am having with you, the one-on-one, where I can, bounce, and you can ask me a question and we can go back. And so it's not just me going off on a tangent because I don't know where I'm going to end up going. I don't know if I'm diagnosed ADD, but I am kind of spacey that way. And my brain just keeps going, and it goes into, and what was I talking about? I don't know.
All the time.
And I don't learn that well from people monologuing at me anyways. It takes a very special character to keep me very interested for a long period of time. The talking heads idea from documentaries. I'm like, oh my God, it's this person just talking, and I go on and on. I prefer dialogue. I don't know. But I will. Because Daniela's like, you want to offer something? I'm like, yeah, if I got to fit it into the full-time job on top of family responsibilities and kids and all that. So I will. Maybe I'll do like Scott and do like once a month or something like that.
That'd be awesome.
And I'll get into something different every time. So I really love this line, by the way, where you just said, fuck it, I'm out of here. At 11:11. And then we had,
that's when I left, ironically. 11:11. 11:11 is when I left. So it's funny you say that. Yeah, I swear to God.
My guides just said, look at your clock right now. And I did.
Yeah. Amazing. That's hilarious.
I'm starting to hear my guides a lot more now, but not audio. I want the clairaudience would be wonderful, but they affect me, and they whoop, and they turn my gaze. I'll turn my attention, and I go, wait, did I do that, or did you? I don't know. I don't know where the line is anymore. Right? It's blurry. And I've learned in the last months that I've actually been claircognizant my whole life, and it wasn't just my imagination, and I wasn't just thinking wild things. That I've actually been guided, and I've been receiving messages, and I've just known things. I just know stuff all the time. People bring things up, and I just know.
I think everybody is. We all get downloads when we need to, but I think some of us we push off those downloads. We're like, but then hindsight's 2020, and we're like, shit, I should have listened to that. And it's like, well, there you go. You knew.
That's exactly why I brought it up, to encourage everyone to when you're delving into developing your intuition. One of the main things to do is when you have that creative thought, and that's my path. That's how I describe it. And everybody's like, that's exactly it. That's what it is. It's just these creative ideas that pop in your head. Follow them because they're telling you something. They're not just random brain farts and whatever, all these hilarious terms, but there's something to it, and there's truth to anything that you're receiving. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So coming back to the fate line, you have this branch. So you have the branch heading where you want it to go, but your headline is just as we predicted in the left hand. Your headline is going to be your issue here for achieving your fate. Overthinking and making decisions, like you said about the relationships, the bad decisions, that kind of thing. This is a lot to do with your fate in general. So a warning here is to, I'd say, follow your gut instinct, follow your intuition, and let it guide you more. Okay, trust it more. So exactly what talked about. Said. I guess that's why we just talked about that right before coming back to the fate line. So that little head, that little voice, those creative ideas that you're getting, they're guiding you. So, and you're a bull, right? You're a Taurus.
Yeah.
So the most stubborn of all. So I'm telling you this. So you keep.
And I was born in the year of the ox. I'm double stubborn.
Make it your mantra.
To a fault. It is. It is. But I'm very unwavering. I do not back down hardly at all for anything. So that's one of the reasons, I I am the way I am.
I have my chat in the back here, and I have Daniela saying, "You said it once a month."
Yeah. You said it. I heard it. She's in the comments. I heard it, Steph.
She's in cahoots with Siddhartha Angelica, I swear.
She totally is. She's Siddhartha's boots on the ground. She totally is.
I mean, what could be more encouraging than Siddhartha telling you, hey, you have the thing, you should be doing this, go teach now. Okay.
We've been telling you that for a while. You only take that opinions from ascended masters, huh? We've been saying it for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, you should talk. Here we are.
Yes. When he comes from an ascended master, everybody listens.
I just hear it more, baby.
Love it.
I love it. So, having said that, so we're going to I can draw the actual reading bring it to a close. So I'm being directed to point out two more the really good stuff. Okay, that too. Okay, so we have your success line is up here, and so your success will come later. You're going to keep working for a while till you get it, and then I see that your line comes right over, so it's going to come through communication because it's turning and curving towards the Mercury. So that seems pretty obvious. It seems to be hitting the nail on the head there. That success comes through various forms of communication for you. The other thing I definitely want to mention that is some support for you here. If you have a bunch of little lines here, people, those are natural healer lines. So you have, if you go to the hospital and you look at the nurse, I'd say the nurse is more than the doctors. And I have actually checked this in palmistry. Doctors are not the same as healers. allopathic doctors. They're not the same. Some are, of course, but more often than not, they're very logical, and they've chosen this career because their parents told them they should be a doctor, or they want the money, or they want to help people. But the nurses are the ones that usually have these markings, the healer markings. And if you want to take those healer markings even further, it is with the laying on of hands. So I'm just giving you more validation in your hand to what you've already been told, including Siddhartha, I believe, told you this, right?
Yeah.
You were the healer? Well, you have this marking.
Yeah.
And so I assume that a lot of people watching.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people saying they have them. Yeah, they have them on both hands. Wow.
I had to turn off the comments completely, so not only are they not distracting me, but they're not messing up my internet, because having them loaded was taking up more bandwidth.
Oh, okay.
So. But I'll try to by tomorrow. I'll rewatch it like a lot of people do, and I'll try to answer.
Well, if we got some spare time, I'll scroll back and we can answer some questions for people. We'll ask people to submit some questions. So that's fine. Yeah, no rush.
Okay. And the last thing I will mention for the hand, because we're not going to go on about this all day, is it's not a very clear, but there is a star here, and that's going to show where this is the most positive sign in there. It is very messy on the left hand, but there's like a lot of action happening here, like your energy. So that's where your energy is going, where the lines are. But are you seeing it a bit in your right hand? So there's a kind of like
I never noticed that.
There's a bit of a triangle in there. So a star on Saturn means, so that the Saturn finger has a lot to do with responsibility, discipline, the ego self rather than the outward ego of the Jupiter finger. So that gets people confused often, and your authority. And it's about your work, which is why you want the fate line to go to that finger in general. And that's why it generally goes there. But so the star on Saturn means fame eventually, because they're up high, which we already see. You're on the trajectory. You've already been asked. And I don't know if you're going to share. You mentioned something about a message from Dolores. Maybe you can tell us right after I finish this. If you were planning on sharing it. I don't know if it was something you were going to.
I can share it. Not a problem.
Okay. Because I wrote back to you because I was away, and then I came back and I'm like, what did Dolores tell you? Was it Angelica tell you? Because she said something at the end of the live thing, and I'm like, she never answered. Damn you and your busyness.
Sorry.
So the star is a fantastic sign of reaching a high. I know you don't love hearing this, but your Jupiter finger does love hearing this. But discipline and a high responsibility, a high societal responsibility, including fame, that comes with it in a very positive way. Your star is not fully formed, but as time goes on, it may become fully formed as you embrace and walk into what you're being asked to do, like I'm being asked to do from the higher powers as well. We have
spotlights all around, Steph.
Oh, you got a bigger spotlight on you. But I am here to accept being in the spotlight, and I'm not a fan of being in the spotlight, which is why even people hesitate to do you want to come on? I'm like, I'm being prompted to, but I am a Cancer with a Scorpio rising. I want to be in the background generally. So the huge challenge for me is I'm being prompted into becoming more of a public figure, because you can't really reach people unless you put yourself out there, right? So I'm like, but that's why I make visual art. I'm actually a musician. I love music. I find music to be the greatest form of art that we can perform, because it is the most meditative in a way, because it's always in the here and now. And I mean, live performances, it's here and now, and it's about all the senses, and they're all intertwined, and you have to find a rhythm with it. That all happens with artwork as well. And the reason, the visual arts is a much easier career choice. It's easier to get to work in society, because I don't want to be, I do enjoy traveling, but I don't want to be traveling from city to city performing. That's not for me at all. Not my kind of thing. That's exhausting. I could picture myself being sick all the time. So I chose the visual arts for for many reasons, mostly because I could be behind the curtain. You create the art and then you put it up there for people to see. Whereas the musician goes on to stage, because as a musician, I call myself a composer. I'm not a performer. I'd rather compose and then show it. So, but nonetheless, I'm being prompted.
You got to get out there, Steph. I'm telling you, Siddhartha knows you got big things coming.
Yep. And so on that note, I'll finish off with, so Laura shared, I sent her a bunch of links for different ways you can reach me. I did put on Divinate. So I will be, so keep in mind, everyone, I work full time, so I might be able to do 1 or 2 per week. But I am going to, in my little blurb, my little description, I did explain that I am offering palmistry. So it'd be like we just did. You send me the photos, we do a Zoom link or whatnot, and I'll send you an audio recording of it. And we'll look at your hands together on Photoshop like we're doing here. And so there's a prep work for that. And then there's at least, with somewhere around an hour that we spend together, depending how much guidance I'm, told to share with you. So I'm offering that for, I already have a full-time job, so I'm trying to keep this pretty cheap because I just want to help people out at $77. And I didn't get into is re-remembering now of my past lives, and I have an ability, a healing ability, and I just did this naturally. And so I know people that are sick, and I went into meditation, and my guides brought me along, and they said, look, this is what we're doing. And I have a pretty deep understanding of the chakra system out of strong interest for a few decades now, alongside palmistry. They're probably 2 of my most loved subjects. And so they guided me, and I'm able to adjust and balance and calibrate. And when I say me, I mean a healer is a facilitator for your own healing. You're healing yourself. We healers are simply guiding and prompting. And so we direct the energy through you, and I can adjust a low or underactive chakra, an overactive chakra, if you have blocks. I'm learning as I go. I have seen black holes. I have even found a shattered sacral center. That's why I was saying I could talk at length with Laura Whitworth about these things.
A shattered chakra center. I've heard of it split in half.
From so
where
much.
The chakra is sending energy in 2 different directions. What happens when it's been shattered?
It was like a broken plate. I didn't count how many pieces were in there, but but my guides came in and and it's the sacral, where it's your emotional center. So trauma will destroy that one the most. And when I say destroy, it can't be destroyed, of course, because we are light energy. But this broken, it was like a broken plate, and then there was a thread, a golden thread that sewed it back together again. This is the visual I had of it. And when I was, not this time, but last time I talked to Siddhartha described this, and he says, well, you're already working with Raphael in that case. Raphael is known to be the archangel of healing, because he was telling me I could call him in for that. And I said, and he said, he described it. I said, I saw this happened to me just last week. So, so this is an innate, something I probably worked lifetimes on achieving in other dimensions or whatnot. I don't want to question it too much, because it's detrimental for me to know too much. So what I'm being taught or directed to do is to assimilate a lot of the different abilities that I have developed over lifetimes. So this is to help people, to help balance them, and to facilitate your own healing, right? So I'm not doing your shadow work for you, but I can facilitate your energy, and I have been doing it. It has been very successful, and it can help with some health ailments as well. So it's a little bit like psychic surgery. I don't have any real term for it, but I'm just doing this to help people at a whole, because time is energy, energy is time. So this one I'm offering at $33. Because it's so I have my meditations at night, and I'll have a sort of mental list that I'll go through, and there's some people I've been keeping in a healing energy. Some people with, I have one person in my life that is very difficult. I even asked Siddhartha about this person, and she has a lot to work through. So I'm keeping her, and in fact, I wasn't even allowed to touch her chakras at all at the beginning. All I could do was just send her healing energies because her chakras were so out of alignment. And I did get her an SRT as well. She had 6 discarnates, but no negatives.
Really?
She is Fae. I know that she is Fae. I can tell. I don't know. This is just something that came to me. I don't get these things quickly or easily.
I got goosebumps when you said that. That's a validation for you. Wow. I don't even know her, and I had goosebumps. Wow.
I saw you hold your ear a while ago too, and I wondered if you had
I had my ear was ringing really loudly. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
that's
there
why.
was something. I don't know what was being said. You could probably catch it on the replay, but something was being said, and you got the ringing in the ear of confirmation for that, whatever it was.
Yeah, in my left ear too. Usually it's my right ear, but when it's my left ear, it really gets my attention because it's the rare one.
Yeah,
my right ear is always fucking ringing.
I got left last night. I don't get them too often, but I got one last night.
Yeah.
I even knew it was coming, which is weird. I'm like, oh, my left ear is going to ring soon. And then it started ringing.
Randall's here. Hi, Randall. My friend Randall Smith is here. I love you, Randall. Randall's the reason I found SRT. I'm going to share what he said. He said, Lara, you have the author mark between your pinky and ring finger. Your head and heart line tell me you're even-tempered and not a lot upsets you. When you're high, you're high. When you're low, the bottom isn't low enough. You're a natural healer. A quick read. Thank you, Randall. Cool.
It's good stuff. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah.
I just realized
Thanks so much, Steph. This has been so fascinating.
Wait, speaking of that, maybe you want to share it, Randall. What is the message you got from Dolores? Don't you want to share that?
Okay, where's my phone? It was a personal message, but I'm happy to share it because you never know. It may resonate with someone else who needs to hear something similar. And it's funny, right? Because this message came through Sarah Jane Patton. She messaged me. She can talk to quite a few people come through and she gets channeled messages. But she messaged me. She goes, the timing was uncanny because I was just telling somebody that I was planning on doing some work while I was in South Africa on my holiday. And she was like, you shouldn't do any work. I'm like, no, screw it. What else am I going to do? Like, relax? Come on. Like, An hour later, I got this message. So she must have heard me. So that's why, here, I'll read it. Sarah messaged me. And she goes, I have a message for you from Dolores. Would you like to hear it? And I said, always. She goes, well, I always ask for permission, but I'll share if she wants to tell you something. She's asking you to breathe. She's asking you to take a moment for you as soon as you can. She wants you to know that all the struggles and experiences have been leading you to your highest timeline. She's saying that you've done it. Amazing. Great job. You've made it. She says all the work and things that you have done is about to pay off. She says, keep believing. Keep holding the vision. Keep listening, Lara. I am with you. I am always with you. I am guiding you all the way, no matter what my team or family says. It's going to make me tear up. Sorry. Just trust your innate knowing. I am speaking to you always. You will feel me when it is me. And if you need signs that it is me, just ask. Dolores says that you can channel her and already says to and already do, but you need to trust it. The biggest mistake is your self-care and making sure that you are filling your cup and not giving others from a dry or half full cup. Please let others help and support you. You have an entire community ready to jump in, and help is only an ask away.
That's wonderful. So great.
I love her so much. She's like my fairy godmother. she's whenever I really need something, it's always Dolores that pops in to be like, hey, here's a message. You dropped this.
That is wonderful.
Thank you for bringing that up. I wasn't planning on sharing that, but I imagine other people need to hear it as well. So thank you for bringing that up.
It reflects very well on you.
She's looking out for so many of us. She loves each one of her students very, very much. And so if you feel a close connection to Dolores, all you have to just talk to her. and she'll hear you. She'll support you. I am by far not the only one that has this much love and support from her. She's doing this for everybody that really is continuing her work and giving as much of themselves. So she's with all of us. She's everybody's grandma. You know, like, just love her so much.
I'm going to be getting my first QHHT soon. I was going to do one on, I would like to do it online with one of my friends because I know several people that do it, but it's too risky. You saw my internet getting glitchy a while ago. I wouldn't trust it for 5 hours. Who knows? And if I get disconnected, it was explained to me that it could be quite detrimental. So I don't want to do that. So I got somebody about an hour away. I'll probably plan to go see soon.
Well, you know, like I said, QHHT is amazing in person. I recommend definitely getting one in person, but also just having one online. BQH, SCHH, and IQH, all of those online ones are just as good. So I just like how diversified it is. Every single one of them is something unique and special about it. So it's a goal of mine. I just want to have all the modalities on my on my resume.
Well, here's a question a lot of people might have, including me. How come the other, like BQH, is something I was thinking of as well? What makes that safe to do online? You know, like you can come out of it easily, and it's not as dangerous to do online.
Well, we did ask Dolores this. You know, when we were speaking with Andy and Chen has that direct communication with her, and that was one of the big questions I asked a while ago. Was, you know, is it okay? Because if she said no, I wouldn't have done it. I very much care about her opinions, and even though she's passed on, I'm like, let's check Dolores. Let's just ask Dolores first, please. You know, because I don't want to step on her toes, even in death. But it's funny, so that's why I actually messaged Andy with that, you know, consideration in mind, whether to ask her if it's changed or not. And she said, yes, it has. Because back in the day, the internet wasn't as reliable as it is now. She said that also there's a lot of people who need this work, who cannot have access to somebody who lives so remotely that they, you know what I mean? Like we need to be able to access each other, even if we're out in the middle of nowhere, you know? And unfortunately, there aren't a lot of options, especially for people in places like Africa. I hate to say it, but there's not a lot of QHHT practitioners over there, or in Asia. So, you know, when you're looking for a practitioner, they might not even be one in your country or within, you know, several hours of driving. So that was one of the hardest parts for me, was that I couldn't find one in person. I had to travel all over to actually find one. So she did acknowledge that basically the world is changing and we need to change with it, and that there are things that we can do to make it safer, and we need to keep that in mind. But basically, we just have to let things evolve as they need to. Nothing stays the same forever. You know, there's always going to be things that need to change and adapt and grow and expand. And if you try and keep everybody into this tiny little box, then, you know, it's just going to screw things up. It's going to hold us back. So that's her opinion now, according to Jen, is, you know, we just got to do what we got to do to get the healing done, to get the work done. So
we need to evolve.
I personally, I feel that, you know, in person is still the best. So if you have that option, I do think that that is one of the best ways of doing it. Just to be in that space, you know. But even if not, like I've done online too. Scott is going to be doing group hypnosis, which is really, really exciting. For those of you who don't know, Scott Quinneman is going to be on my podcast tomorrow. We're going to have a wonderful chat with Dr. Scott about his group hypnosis that he's going to be doing. And that is online. So that is group hypnosis. A lot of people think it's not the same, and it isn't. You know, it's actually slightly different. But it's just as safe to do online, and QHHT has been doing group hypnosis online for 20 years. So it's like one type they do and one time they don't. So really, it's just up to whatever people prefer. And I hate to say it, but I know a lot of QHHT practitioners that are still doing online sessions anyway. They're just doing it online. They don't give a shit. They're like, oh, just shh. You know. So, yeah, people are adapting regardless of the rules. You know, sometimes rules make sense, and Sometimes rules do not make any sense, and those are the ones I tend to not really abide by. I try to.
But what was explained to me and what would worry me about doing it online is if the connection was dropped, I would, naturally wake up on my own, but I could be in between and I could be still, my mind would be kind of split, possibly, and still believing that it's the other incarnation where we don't want to do that. As much as we learn about our other
Pretty sure Laura has that worked into her technique, though. Like she has something, and not just Laura, but I'm pretty sure Candace also has something built into the technique that is like a fail-safe for that situation. Yeah, so it won't be like the movie Office Space where like your hypnotist has a heart attack in the middle of it and you're still in that Zen state of mind and then you quit your job and all that. That's such a funny movie. I love Office Space.
I love it. It was too funny. Yeah. That was good. But
he was just in this hypnotic state forever, where he just didn't give a shit. All his fucks were gone. Great movie.
That was great. Love it. It's hilarious.
So does anybody have any questions for Steph? We got a couple minutes. If you guys have any questions about anything we've discussed today. Yes, Olivia just answered. Yes, BQH has a fail-safe for that possibility. I had a feeling they would.
Well, maybe Ollie
says you are in total complete control under hypnosis, and yes, BQH has a fail-safe to call on the phone or reconnect. Cool. I haven't studied the other techniques yet. I'm taking Laura's class in March. So the only technique I still technically know is QHHT. There's still quite a lot of things I'm sure that make them very different to the original method. Did you guys share all he's offering he has now? Yeah. What are you offering? Steph, you're doing that.
Yes, so through...
let me find your links here.
I do have another thing to announce, but yeah, so right now you can contact me through Divinate or Facebook or whatever, or there's a few different ways to reach me. So I'm offering palmistry, like I just did, or chakra clearing, and they can come together. And then the other thing I want to mention is that I have ordered 25 kilograms of chips, of crystal chips that are coming in. So I will be, so a lot of people make pyramids, the Orgone pyramids. I will be making Orgone art. So I will be making, and I will, because the chips are fairly expensive, I'm going to be trying to keep them to 10 by 10s or 12 by 12s, and I'll make some bigger ones as well. So what I'll be doing is I'll be channeling your energy. I could chat with you a little bit, and then I will make a specialized, almost like a mandala of it. There's a bit of an example over here. It's like this one. This one has really faint colors, but it gives you the idea. So they're kind of like a circle. It'd be something along this line. Very textured.
I love the textures.
So I'd be doing this, and it'll be more bright colors, more of beautiful aura energies. A bit like an aura portrait of you, but more about what you need and what you are. So it'll include. So I actually purchased that's on the way. I got a whole bunch of clear quartz. I got I think 6 kilos is just clear quartz, because I want to also build for myself what they call cloud busters. So I will put a pyramid on the top with the epoxy resin, but then the rest will be this tall pillar, but I'll use cement because any inert material can work for it. So I'm looking forward to having that. I'm probably going to put a full kilo of clear quartz in that thing just to make it super powerful. And if you guys are not familiar with that, you can put these things, and you can't keep them too close to the house. I have a few acres. I live really very rural area. But I have to actually make it away from my house because it will mess up your electronics and it will fry things. I have to remember not to bring my phone over there because it might fry my phone. That's how powerful they are. So
that's happened to my friends. My friends they made a huge, what are they called? The cloud busters. Yeah, they made an orgonite out of a trash can. Massive thing. I mean, it was like a 20-gallon trash can, and they had big copper tubes out of it. And their friends said, this is really powerful. Don't put any electronics near it. And they're like, fine, okay, we'll just keep it in our garage/shed thing. And every once in a while, they would bring it out and they would put it out, and you would see this really cool clearing in the chemtrails around you. There'd be a perfect circle of clear sky above their house, and you're like, what the hell? But then one day they forgot they were remodeling stuff in their backyard, and they brought it all in the house. It fried 4 computers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. When you said the garage, I was like, uh-oh, it was an attached garage?
Yes, because the office was on the other side of the wall from the garage.
Yeah.
We had 3 computers and a laptop in the other room, and bam, all 4 of them wouldn't even turn on. They fried them.
Yeah,
Organite's very, very powerful. Just for the record,
it's real. It's not something. It's very powerful. It's very positive, but it's very powerful as well. And I have seen it done, and I have seen plenty of videos. I had a friend who was really into this, where I learned all of this. William Reich is the man who brought it to prominence, much like I was speaking about Kiro earlier. William Reich is the guy you want to look into if you want to learn more about the origins of it. And so my friend actually built one, and he went out with his phone. He's like, look, guys, I just brought this out into my yard, and he just turned it up, and you just saw a hole right in the clouds. How's that for validation? Like, you can't argue when people are like, "Oh, prove it." That's not right. Just do. There it is. There's science for you right there. I might not be able to explain and prove it according to your standard of what science is, but personally, for me, science is trial and error. I have to experience a lot of things myself to believe them. Like, I do believe that gravity's holding me on the ground. I don't really question that that's happening because I'm walking and I'm not floating off. But there's a lot of things I don't understand. I don't know how most of the stuff that my phone does. I don't know how it's doing all that. I don't know how it makes a picture. I don't know how that television makes an image, really. I understood the old tube TVs a lot better, but the new stuff, I don't get it. But when it comes to believing in things, there are a lot of things you can test for yourself, like getting an organite pyramid, which I have one next to the router, and we each have one on our night. It was because my friend was making them. He lived in the Niagara side, on the American side, and he wanted maple syrup. So I actually was sending him maple syrup because I'm from maple syrup land, and it's amazing. And he loves maple syrup, and we were trading. So I would send him that for Oregon pyramids. So we each have one on our side bed. And in fact, I put my these guys there, and I hang when I take them off at night. I just put them on the pyramid. So there's another hint to charge it.
Cleanse and recharge. You got to charge your crystals like you charge your electronics. Absolutely.
So, and I have a bunch of selenite coming as well. So the selenite's going to be going into the art, so that if it's not catching sunlight, like on your wall, that it'll just keep itself charged. You won't have to pick up your painting.
Yes, you need the selenite in there.
Yeah,
absolutely. Recharging itself. Definitely. Yep. So Joanne had a quick question. Oh, she asked at 11:44. Perfect. Do the lines in the hands change over time? And if so, what does that mean for the readings in our life path?
They do absolutely change as we go, especially your active hand. So if you're right-handed, it'll be the right hand that will change more often because we have choice, quite simply. We are human beings. We came here and you choose. Not everything is predestined for you. So as you progress, or it could be positive or negative, it kind of depends on the person. You can create lines. Some lines can disappear. For example, a line called the Mercury. I didn't mention the other one that you have too. You have a line that does a curve like this. That's an intuition line. I should have brought it up because not everybody has that. So if you have a bulge that comes out here, so that's your moon that sticks out and it makes a curve here. You do not have that, but what you do have is a curve that goes like this. It goes like this, and it's clearly curved towards your percussion. It comes out towards your percussion again. That's excellent. It's called the intuition line, which gives you very strong intuition. That's a very strong indicator of intuition. Much like this, if your fingers do this naturally, I'm going the wrong way.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah, it's like for a while and prosper maybe. But the Mercury line right? It's also called the hepatica line or the line of health, but it also relates to career in a how do I? So the career line is more here, but it's a business line. Sorry, is what I mean. So it's both. It's health and business. So depending. So if you have a nice strong line that heads, it'll be more in a straight line towards that. It's much better to not have it at all. That means you have excellent health. If you do have it and it's broken up, and that means health issues throughout your life. So I bring this up because if you do take better care of your health, that line can disappear completely. If you have chosen to, struggle with these health issues your whole life, then the best you can do is solidify the line and take care of your health so that the line is stronger. But keep in mind that you can have this line as well. It's a little bit harder to read that way because it's a business line as well. So entrepreneurs often have this line, and it'll be a nice, strong, straight line. And like Bezos definitely probably has that line. I can't say definitely, probably has that line.
He probably got a divot right there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, your line's absolutely.
That's so cool. Esther wants to know, would this be different with moles? Are moles similar to the lines when they appear and disappear?
Well, yes, I would say your moles are definitely telling you something. Anything on your body is a part of you. I have picked up on some people, like birthmarks is a good example of this, can often be how you died in your last incarnation.
I have one right here if you guys can't see it. I was shot in the forehead after they executed me and pulled out all my teeth last time. I told you guys that story about the last time I died, getting black bagged by the man. Yeah, they shot me in the forehead, and I have a mole right there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so that's a perfect example of that. So if you have a mole that you're born with and it disappears over time, it could be that you've worked out the karma, that sort of thing. I mean, it depends.
Interesting.
There's something to intuit from each of them. But I would say that most likely you've worked out the karma for it, or you've dealt with any issues. That's why it go away, or you're just letting it go because you're forgetting the last incarnation, that sort of thing. It can go away.
Laura's playing. She's taking one out of your playbook today. Laura's been very cheeky in the comments today. She goes, "So what about the mole on my butt cheek?"
That was from your.
You got shot in the arrow. we did pull an arrow out of somebody's butt cheek in their etheric butt the other day. So you never know, Laura. Maybe that's a bullet mark.
I don't even have a cheeky reply for that. It's like, no.
Oh, I forgot about those. Michelle says, I was born with a strawberry mark, but now it's gone. Aiden was also born with a strawberry mark.
Yep.
I wonder what that is.
Well, it's explained in allopathic medicine as, a trauma of childbirth, but it's very possible, that it is something you're bringing in. It's a memory. We know we're being reincarnated, so there's a strong possibility that it's the same. It's like a birthmark. Even if it fades faster than the average birthmark, it's still just a birthmark. It fits.
There's a lot of babies that have that. In Mongolia, there's something called, I forget what it's called. It's like a blue spotches. But some of the babies are actually born with blue spots all over their back and their butt and stuff, and it goes away within a few months. Like blue skin. It looks really cool, actually. Makes you wonder, like, what? Yeah, you never seen that?
No, I didn't know that one. No.
Oh, I'll have to show you guys. It's so cool.
Definitely get to look that up now.
Oh man, Mongolian blue spots on skin. Now check this out. It's mostly in Mongolia that it's found. I gotta find one that doesn't have any nakedness in it. There we go. See, look at that.
Oh wow.
And it's very common in Mongolia. Yeah. See, where they're just blonde, and some of it is very bright blue, like straight up blue, and nobody really knows why it happens. Isn't that weird? I always joke about it being like leftover Andromedan DNA because of where it's located, You never know.
actually a couple of different blue races, but Andromeda definitely comes up first. But there are so many we don't even know or have English names for. We don't have names for them on Earth because we don't know them. But I have learned this from others that there's new species now incarnating on Earth, and some of them are having difficulty.
That's what Chen said. Chen said, if you look at the energy signature of modern people today versus 200 years ago, we're in a completely different species now.
Oh, yeah.
Just from how much we've energetically evolved over the last 200 years. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, and not to mention all the starseeds coming to get their front row tickets. Apparently, we came in early and we got a lot of the crappy part of that some have described as like we went through a lot of the crap, but also we were there to help raise the vibration. But we still have seats. Well, we're still going to get to experience it. Whereas some poor saps are checking out now. They're like 80, 90, and they're checking out like, no, just a little longer. I guess I'll watch it from the other side.
I really do feel like I chose the perfect time. 1985 is like kind of in the middle. I got to enjoy all the old ways of being, back in the 90s and the way people, I had so much freedom as a kid. I was all over the neighborhood doing all kinds of stuff, just building forts and finding fossils and just being crazy, just having so much fun. And nowadays I'm just I've tried to raise Aiden the same way, but it's not easy. It's a completely different generation now. And with all the tablets and electronics and how just the energy is shifting, the politics, everything is changing around us at all times. It's crazy.
Oh, it's very difficult for them compared to us. We had it I am a 77. So I'm like in that in between where I was very analog, much more analog. And then I did not grow up with computers at all. I actually started studying computers in college. That's when they were becoming more prominent. We used them a little bit in high school. Like they had just replaced the typing class. They would just replace the typewriters with these, those old IBM. That took 20 minutes to load when you turned them on. That was just coming in for me. So I grew up with all the grapes and scratches and climbing trees and playing in the muck and catching frogs.
Then get off the phone. I'm trying to use the internet.
Choking my sister with the cord of the phone. Like, give me the phone. Get off the phone. My sister had to get her own line.
I was born when I was. I kind of enjoy being like it's almost like being a cusper, It's like we're in between all the weird shit. So we get a little bit of both sides, and I think we have a very unique perspective personally.
Oh yeah, we saw massive changes occur already, not to mention what's coming now. So we get to see quite the spectrum and just the energy is so different now than when I was a kid. It's not just because I was a kid, it's a completely different world. And that because I deal with a lot with anxiety, which is why breath work and meditation is very important to me. But everything going so fast now makes it it's imperative.
So fast, we're getting whiplash. It's crazy. That's why I keep telling everybody, we'll just sleep after the shift. We don't have time to sleep right now.
We won't even need to sleep. We're just going to be all, it's so nice.
I'm just going to download for a minute. Hold on. Just downloading some energy real quick.
Just going to go into the waterfall here because I'm just waiting for everything to just get gorgeous again, to be more beautiful. But it is important to remember that 5D might not be as different as a lot of people think it's going to be. That's the way I'm saying it, and a little bit more of I'm very skeptical, and I'm very logical.
Do you know how I think of it? You know how after you take mushrooms, the next day everything seems more bright and colorful, and that's how I envision it to be. Where it's just a notch up the scale a bit more. We're still going to have the drama and all the disparity sometimes when you have like ETs and all that stuff. That's not going to go away. We're still going to have all the ET drama and all that shit, because even in 5D they still have their hierarchies and their politics and all that, so that's not going to go away. But You know, we
That's
can have the fluffy bunnies and rainbows when we pass on. You know, we're down here to work and do the nitty gritty stuff. So
yeah, but it's going to be much easier apparently, and then there's going to be the whole telepathy is going to be a huge adjustment for most people, I think, because you're going to
it's
really
already
have to
starting to be an adjustment.
you got to watch what you're thinking because people will pick up on it and it'll be a lot more powerful. Whereas it's like, huh? I lived in Montreal for a long time, which was really interesting and I was a carpenter for many years. And sometimes I'd be working up in like a scaffold or up in a building and I'd look out the window and there'd be a beautiful moon passing by. And Montreal are so intuitive, so highly intuitive. It's actually ruled by Cancer. So it's ruled by water and the moon. So is New York, by the way. So I look out and I just see this beautiful woman. I was like, wow, she's beautiful. And she turned to look at me. I'd be like, way up, like who walks down the street where there's buildings and just looks up to right there to that window? And it freaked me out. So I would actually do it on purpose to see if it worked. It hardly ever worked with men though, because men are much less intuitive. But and I would do it regularly after I noticed this. I'm like, wow, this is freaky. And I would do it and be like, look at me. And they'd turn and look at me. It's amazing. It's going to be.
It's about to get stronger. It is
Exactly.
about to get. I think it's getting stronger every day. Personally, you know, like certain things, like somebody you'll think of somebody, and then 2 minutes later they'll call you, and you'll be like, I was just thinking of you, and they'll be like, I was just thinking of you too. And It's funny because it doesn't really matter by distance either. I mean, you could be completely on the other side of the world. Somebody is like asleep, and they'll be like, oh, I had a dream of you last night. And it's like, oh, right at the time I was thinking about you. Imagine that.
Yeah, same as Chen and Whitehawk. It doesn't matter where you are. It's distances don't matter at all. I have a very strong link with my father, actually, I wouldn't describe him. He's a very simple man. I wouldn't describe him as a very intuitive person, but we have a strong link, and I can think of him, and he will, or I'll pop in my head, and then I'll get a message from him, or he'll call me all the time. I always know it's coming, or if I should call my dad, and he calls me. It's
between parents and children, they say, is the strongest form of telepathy. Then you also have like between siblings and spouses and that sort of thing, because you spend so much time together. And you know, I'll never forget when my parents, when I was growing up, my mom would actually send my dad a thought of what they wanted for dinners, because it'd be like a Friday or something, and they get takeaway, and she'd be sending him a thought. Okay, I want fish dinner tonight. I'll be having fish dinner, and then my dad will walk in with a fish dinner, and she'd be like, "Oh, you got my mail. You got my thought. Okay, good." They'd be like, "Oh yeah, and it's funny. They would almost play a game out of it to try and see if they would actually intuitively guess what each other wanted that day, and they would always have it right. So it was really funny how you just got to tune in, be receptive to it.
Yeah, that's awesome that they
treat it like a game. I know, right? So my dad is a psychologist, though. He was always into all that kind of cool stuff. I found notebooks full of binary code when he passed on. I've always wanted to ask him about that. Just notebooks full of binary code. Yeah, those little yellow flip notebooks. Just pages and pages and pages of ones and zeros.
Oh yeah, it was
almost relaxing to him to write it out. Interesting, huh? You just never know with people and what they're downloading.
But your grandfather was the 33rd degree Freemason, not your dad, right?
On my mother's side, yeah. So a different side of the family. Yep. Now I'm talking about my dad. He was born in 1921. My dad was quite a character.
Yeah, they seem.
He was 65 when he had me, and 69 when he had my little sister. So my dad was awesome. He really is so cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's why I love all these different generations. We did choose to be here at a certain point for different reasons. And I like being this age at this point, because we're kind of get to see the before, we get to see the under construction part, and then we get to see what we're developing later on. We get to enjoy a bit of what we're creating in this new world. So it's perfect.
Yeah. And I'm also picking up that we were learning all this time and gathering information because we have roles to play, right? That's what this group is about. Everyone here has a role to play to aid in support and help others and possible. Some of us lead, some of them, some just support. And I mean, everybody has a very specific, different role to play. So it's very exciting times.
It is, absolutely. And speaking of exciting roles, if you want to connect with Steph, here's his website. He's a jack of all trades. I want one of your paintings now, Steph. I'm gonna commission something cool. I want a Stargate portal.
Cool. Well, that's
textured one. Yeah.
That's similar to what I'm doing here. These are very much going to be like spiraling portal-like things of energy. So I like that. Yeah, I should be. Yeah. It's coming by boat, so my chips should be here. I mean, I think I ordered them 2 weeks ago, so in another 2 weeks I should have them. It takes about a month, they said. But the thing is that the epoxy is very cold here in Canada, and it has to be above zero.
That's why I haven't been making Orgonite either. Yep.
Yeah. So I'll be doing that in the garage.
Have you ever thought about incorporating crystal chips into your paintings?
Well, that's exactly what I was describing. That's what I'm
doing.
Oh,
okay. It's just for the paintings. Okay. I thought you were just talking about for the Orgonite. Oh, okay.
I'm making organ art. Organ art is what I'll be making, because lots of people are making pyramids. So there's already lots of people. Javelin makes incredible mystical essences. I think it's Javelin that does this.
Yeah.
Her pyramids are gorgeous. She does these, and she has that. She's very artistic. She does these very tiny, intricate, very detailed. That's, there's so many people doing that already. I can get some mold. I just have to get some molds. I can make the pyramids as well. But my plan is to do something different and make it. And it's going to have copper and metal in, and all of it will be in there. It just won't be.
That totally went over my head. I thought we were talking about Orgonite. That's amazing. Now I want one even more, Steph. You're gonna have a long list of commissions waiting.
So you'll have your portal painting will have chips in it that are according to you, which definitely will include some green. That's amazing. I get a green in your.
I had the thought because we want to make Orgonite clothing. So that's where it just popped into mind right now. I was talking with Daniela about that actually the other day, about making Orgonite clothing, Orgonite infused clothes, so that you're protected while you're out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the jewelry is good for that too. And I actually have done this before, where I can tuck it in here, there's like an empty space right here, so there'll be a little lump, but I can put like a quartz or something up for my crown if I want, a little extra. Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah, so incorporating it into clothes, I think, is fantastic too. It's like sequins too. You can have it visible as well.
Yeah, exactly, like crystal sequins. Yeah. And you can also, with Wilhelm Reich, what he was doing is he actually was doing layers of wool, as well. So he was already, embracing that as it is. So he was making boxes that people would stand in that were layers of wool and other, I forget, like fiberglass and other things that he would use for organic and inorganic material, the layers. Genius.
I'm really glad you just brought that up, because that is before. It's 2 hours in, but there's something really wonderful I want to share before we go. There's a doctor, her name is Dr. Yellen, and she performed some testing on fabrics. So grounding is very important. So on the subject of grounding and protecting our energy and raising our vibration, people are often overlooking is the fabric that you're wearing, the clothing itself. So she actually, I don't exactly know how they managed to do the testing itself, but the human body is vibrating around 100 hertz. A very healthy human body is around 100 hertz and can drop as low as 15 hertz when we're very sick. Okay. So you have something like the crappy fabrics that you don't want are things like polyester. And even
I was about to say polyester.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. But
they even banned it in the fucking Bible, didn't they? They said something about banning something, not polyester, but there was another word for it that they called it, and that's why polyester is actually banned by certain religions.
Well, the fabrics I am going to bring up are mentioned in the Bible as the best, specifically by name. So it's good. I'll tie into that as well then. So organic cotton at the very least is what you should be wearing, because regular cotton is only around 70. So it's already below where you're vibrating. So what can that mean? It means it's not going to bring your vibe up, is it? It might not hurt much. I mean, a lot of people do it, but if you really want to bother, because actual linen sheets are very expensive, but I have organic cotton for my sheets because, you spend a couple hours there every day. But the main ones, and even in numbers, the two magic ones, and it's in the Bible, is wool and linen. They both vibrate at 5,000 hertz. So it's no mistake, it's no coincidence that we call them bed linens, and that hospitals, before they became corrupted by the cabal, used to be really always with the bed linens. They were always linen. We had the linen closet. Everything was linen. Now everything got bastardized. And I mean, linen sheets, I looked into
all plastic. Yeah.
It was hundreds of dollars to get a bed linen. And I wear linen all summer. So linen is fantastic in warm climates. And in winter it's very good to keep some wool. But merino wool is a very refined in a specific way to make it less itchy for those who are very itchy. I highly recommend. I've been talking about this in chats and stuff on the side, but I'm going to say it because there's more people listening right now. For those who are still with us after 2 hours, but socks is a good way to do it. And in the winter, I mean, it gets really cold here in the winter, and I mean, we it's normal for us to keep the house. We just wear sweaters, right? But you put a wool blanket on you while you're sleeping. But a word of caution to really keep in mind here is never to wear them at the same time, because they cancel each other out. So anytime you're talking about this or recommending it to anyone, is don't wear wool and linen together. A simple way, I'm a very visual person, let's just picture that their energies move like this and the other one moves like this. So they literally will move in opposite directions and cancel each other out. So you don't want to wear them together ever, why would you wear them together?
Fascinating.
It doesn't make sense. One's really, I mean, merino wool is extremely breathable. Your body odor won't stick to it. You don't even need to clean it as often, because you can be sweaty and everything. And then people use it for sports. My wife loves it. She's into her winter sports. She's a dog trainer and she does dog sledding and stuff. And she loves her base layers of merino wool. And you take it off after it doesn't smell, because it's antibacterial as well, and just because it breathes so well. So if it's but the thing with the socks is I find they really breathe a lot. So and I wear like kind of sandals in the house, that kind of thing. So because of in my work area, I don't want to step on things that cut me. I don't want to be in socks. And
interesting. I wonder about hemp and bamboo, because I almost all my socks are bamboo. I love bamboo socks. It's like one of my. They're so soft and comfortable.
It's still a natural element, and I think it has to do with how refined it is and how well refined. But it wasn't part of this study, so they didn't actually include it in that. But intuitively, I say that I would put them both right around that 100 with the organic cotton, especially so if you have your organic hemp or organic cotton, or the other thing you mentioned, bamboo. If they're organically done. Refined.
So all three, hemp, cotton, and bamboo, usually generally are probably about the same.
I would feel that they're very much in the safe zone, but again, we're talking about 100 hertz, whereas compared to 5,000 hertz. So it's passively bringing your vibration, holding your vibration at least where it is, and naturally grounding you. So a lot of people seem to have issues with grounding. When we're talking about entity attachments and all that, grounding is everything. So I think that's actually, I'm going to talk to Daniela. I think the first thing I might do is a sort of guided meditation, which includes grounding.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Grounding is really, really important. Absolutely. A lot of us, we aren't sleeping well because of grounding. That's one of the things that I've noticed. If you're not grounded, you're not going to sleep well. So it's not just about your day. It's about how, you know what I mean? Everything about your Your life is important for grounding, whether you're connecting to other people, feeling connected to yourself, your environment, all of that.
And Definitely. You have crystals. The crystals you can put around your bed, and then, like I was just explaining, you have your wool and your linen is going to help you to. You'll wake up grounded if you include those. It's somewhere in your bedding. Right?
Helena has a quick question. She goes, what do you think about the silver protective clothing for EMF protection? They're often mixed in polyester. I love wool, but I wear EMF clothes as well. What's your intuition on this?
Yes, silver line clothing. Is that because my internet?
Yeah, silver. Yeah, the silver line protective clothing. Yeah.
Yes, I feel that would be above the 100 hertz.
Even if it's in polyester.
Yes, the same with the socks. You're probably not. If you use 100% wool socks, you're more likely to wear through them quickly. So if you're interlacing the fabrics with polyester or rayon and those lower vibration things, it won't matter. It will not cancel it out. The high vibration is going to. It won't matter. You got 5,000 hertz next to 15 hertz. The 15 just gets ignored basically. It won't.
Okay, cool.
Right? Yeah. So
good to know.
Yeah, I haven't looked in much, but I have seen the silver clothing. So it's metallic, so it's going to be grounding. It
sounds expensive, Helena. Yeah. I bet it is.
They have some with copper as well. Yeah.
Oh, cool! I love the copper. Awesome. Well, we got so many ideas now for our next clothing line. You know, fantastic. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Well, thank you. I can't believe we've taken up so much of your time. Thank you, Steph. I really, really appreciate it. You, coming in and having this wonderful chat. And I've learned so much about. I'm never going to look at my hands the same way again now.
You can understand my fascination, and all the years that I've spent. I've read so many books on it, just comparative, contrastive, and then mixing in the intuition in my own readings, but. Just absolutely fascinating that it's printed on us, right? Oh, the one last thing about yours is because we're talking about the fingerprints themselves. So there's whorls and whorls as in WH. Yeah. You have the same one that I have that's right here.
Oh.
And if you look at it, you'll see the whorl. It's in the fingerprint.
Oh yeah, I see it.
That's called the whorl of humor. So
really,
so people with a really the jokesters and the not pranksters necessarily, but just people that have you meet some people.
I've always been a class clown, is how I call it. That's how it's always been. Yeah.
I know it's shocking, but so was I. I know this is coming out of left field here, but I was the class
clown. Oh yeah, Steph's sense of humor. No way. What a shock.
I have it in both hands. Yeah. I would assume stand-up comedians all have this. Right.
Gotta love it. Oh, and thank you, Daniela. You're so helpful. Daniela highlighted all the goodies. Coming up at Divinate Friday. Look at that. Daniela, you're amazing. Look at it. Friday at 8 p.m. We have the Zoom Q&A and the Qigong immersion. And let's see, what else? Sunday, we have the free Sacred Sunday. That was weird. Something just shook my chair. Something just went like that. I felt my chair. That was weird. Okay. Let's see. Ho'oponopono and Sacred Healing with Daniela on Sunday at 11. And then we have the group hypnosis with Scott in paid membership. That's going to be super exciting. I'm having a chat with Scott tomorrow about that on the podcast. For those of you who have never done a group hypnosis, it's a real treat. And it's so kind of Scott to do that for us. So you don't want to miss that, okay? Put that in your calendar especially. And on Monday, there's going to be the 3 p.m. chat with Daniela and Laura Whitworth. And, and there's Christopher. Christopher also has the link for the Qigong classes that they're starting. So make sure, if you guys love Qigong as much as I do, you don't want to miss out on that because it is wonderful for your energy work.
I highly recommend this venture. It is wonderful. I absolutely love taking my classes with Chris and Daniela. Wonderful.
What a wonderful community we're all building together. You know, it makes my heart feel full every day. It really does. Thank you so much, Steph. I love you to bits. You're amazing. You're such a joy to be around. So thank you. Everyone else, I'll see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Much love, guys. See you soon.